I could just picture how Vince McMahon would break this news to everybody. All right, guys, I got this great idea. The holidays are coming up. We've had record-breaking profits for quarter after quarter after quarter, so I know what we're going to do. The staff says, oh, are you going to give us bonuses and possibly a little bit of time off? No, I'm not going to do that. Are you going to give the wrestlers bonuses and time off and possibly maybe even let them form a union? No, not going to do that. Ha ha, no, why would I do that? Johnny Ace, tell them what we're going to do. Well, Vince, I think we're going to release more people. Release more people. People power. Just in time for the holidays. Ha ha ha. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Whatever the hell else it is you people do. You can only imagine that that's how this fucking next round of goddamn firings happen. Seriously, if they aren't trying to sell the goddamn company, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Not Tony Khan can piss the fuck off and hopefully never come back to wrestling. I hope that Vince and his entire inner circle have the worst fucking Christmas possible, with one exception on this firing list. I'm John Redland with my real honest thoughts on WWE's 2021 releases, round 7, I believe. We're probably going to be around 10 by the end of the year. Look, I get that it's a business. I get that AEW is eventually going to have to release people. New Japan releases people. Impact releases people. Every goddamn company releases people. That's going to fucking happen. Vince McMahon is just going to sit there in his ivory tower, probably built out of actual ivory at this point, with all the goddamn profits that they keep making, and be like, ha ha, let's just light up more cigars with $100 bills while we fire people that we had uproot their goddamn lives, and we gave them promises, but we just won't fucking deliver because ha ha ha. Seriously, it's fucking goddamn ridiculous. Now, again, a couple of these releases don't necessarily surprise me. Some do. I lost track on how many people they released in 2020 and this year. It's got to be close to 200. It really has to be. I know somebody did like a list and, just put, it was like really, really small text, so I wasn't going to bother reading that shit. So if anybody can point me in the direction of a safe link for all the releases, and I might actually do a video on that at some point and just talk about where all these people landed and do a multi-part series. But this is ridiculous. This is just before the goddamn holidays. Record-breaking profits. They're already struggling to fill 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of NXT, and 2 hours of SmackDown. Let's just release people. Some people they shouldn't have fucking hired in the first place. Some people weren't ready to be put on TV. It's about half the goddamn NXT 2.0 roster. It's getting stupid. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on these releases in the goddamn comments, please. But seriously, I hope that not Tony Khan, a.k.a. Nick Khan, a.k.a. that goddamn Jim Herd-headed motherfucker, has the worst fucking Christmas possible. He won't, because he has a whole bunch of goddamn money and he's determined to turn WWE into Disney on Ice, a traveling circus, whatever it is, where they just put people out there to do moves and that's all it is. That's seriously all it's going to fucking be. Vince McMahon has lost it more than Vern Gagne did at the very end. More than Vern Gagne did when he was in that old folks home and beat up a guy and potentially killed a guy. Look it up, folks. It actually happened in some form or another. And Bruce Pritchard, that goddamn, stupid red-faced motherfucking inbred hillbilly, should never be allowed to be anywhere near wrestling. Should have not been allowed. When they continue to say it, the Paul Bosch just slapped him down with either his ears or his goddamn headset or his hands, whatever the fuck it is. Bruce Pritchard's a fucking embarrassment to professional wrestling. And let's just throw in Kevin Dunn. That stupid Bucky Beavertooth motherfucker that deserves every goddamn bit of ridicule until he hopefully goes and builds a dam somewhere with all the goddamn money that he has with those goddamn stupid teeth. And look, I probably shouldn't make fun of somebody's appearance because A, I'm just an average white guy, but B, Kevin Dunn has ruined a lot of lives in wrestling, and he deserves every bit of ridicule. And then there's Johnny Ace. People power! Johnny Ace deserves to be just repeatedly destroyed verbally, because all he's ever done is married his way, slept his way, kissed his ass, kissed ass his way to get his positions in wrestling, because he had middling talent. Sure, he was over for a bit in All Japan. Okay, cool. That's just because Mrs. Baba apparently wanted to sleep with him and a lot of other, American wrestlers for whatever reason. Not knocking. Your kinks are your kinks. But Johnny Ace is a burden to professional wrestling as well. There's also, whatever, God. I'm going to also make this clear before I dive into this list that I will continue to watch WWE programming. A, I have watched it forever in a day that's never, seemingly, as one rap artist said. I don't remember the name. And B, I want to support the talents I care about. However, my investment in a lot of these characters and a lot of these gimmicks and a lot of whatever is so minimal. They did hire a whole bunch of people. They hired so many goddamn people in starting in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. They were just gobbling up people so other promotions couldn't happen. And they did that when AEW was first a thing. Before they even had their first goddamn show, let's gobble up more people. Okay, it sort of makes sense because WCW also did that in the 90s and they had a whole bunch of people and it worked out well for WCW. Oh, it didn't. WWE obviously has better TV contracts and a whole bunch of other shit that they are making bank, and they will continue to make bank until Fox and USA say, hey, wait a fucking minute. We signed you to these big contracts. I don't know if the USA Network deal is $1 billion. I think it's just a little bit less, but still serious money. And given the ratings they've been getting, that's pretty fucking bullshit. And Fox has probably got to be pretty goddamn pissed with how SmackDown's doing. NXT 2.0 is in the goddamn dumps, whether creatively in ratings or otherwise. And I know viewing habits change. I get that. I get all that. And certainly AEW, and certainly even if New Japan Strong were on TV, probably wouldn't be the best ratings either. Impact, their ratings are in the witness protection program. It's fucking ridiculous that, so many companies can't get that huge audience, but they do also get the social media influencer clips and other stuff. So there's ways viewing habits change. Still, I can't imagine the TV companies are that happy with them. And it's just, the more they release people, like there was one group that I'll talk about here in a bit that was called up. That was fucking called up. And they were touted as being a big thing on Fox and everything, and now they're all gone. And I'm going to talk about that here in a bit, but it's just frustrating and so hard to invest in WWE, and not the AEW's hands are clean either. They got some bad people over there. There's the stuff about Jay Lethal. There's Don NDA Callis. There's the stuff that happened with Darby and the Speaking Out movement. And I'm going down the list here. Not that things aren't equally important, but where there's smoke, there's fire. There's problem people all over the goddamn place and all over wrestling. New Japan Strong's got TJ fucking P. We know what the P stands for. And Impact's got some issue people. My whole point is there's going to be problem people in wrestling all around. There's just got to be a way where they can help with the profits, or they can continue to make profits and everything. They can get good people in and maybe, put all these people, out to pasture that are, that are goddamn pieces of shit. But that's another story for another day. WWE is basically cutting off its nose despite its face. They're basically bound and determined to just hammer into the fans' heads, none of these people matter, you're going to watch anyway. And then there's more evidence that less and less people are watching the weekly show and maybe catching up on YouTube clips. So yeah, sure, they're watching in some form or another. This is right before pay-per-view. This is right before Thanksgiving. About 5 weeks before Christmas. You're telling me they couldn't have just waited until February? I mean, I'm sorry. There is no way these 8 talents that the other talents they released just a couple weeks ago, and even a few other rounds of releases, even though there were some that should have been gone way before and some that should have never been hired in the first place, they could have just kept them. Because it's not like Vince McMahon was going to lose, any way to fuel his private jet, and Johnny Ace wasn't going to find a way to not, be a goddamn kiss ass, and Bruce Pritchard maybe wasn't going to find a way to find another tanning bed to get so goddamn red that hopefully maybe he'll end up like one of the girls in Final Destination 3. Ranted about this enough. I'm getting pissed because it's getting harder and harder to invest in so much modern wrestling when this shit keeps happening. And again, AEW's got its problems too that I've addressed, and I will address in other videos, even though I enjoy AEW's weekly product more. WWE has key elements that they can do some good stuff and could build a better show. And anytime they do that, anytime characters get momentum, they take them off TV and then they release them, or they do programs nobody asked for, and they continue them forever and forever and forever and seemingly forever, beating it into our skulls. And WWE's got a SmackDown show that's coming in February of next year. And it's at the former Key Arena that I saw Elias and Kevin Owens, bring the house down when they talked about the Sonics. Having a basketball team in Seattle, they They're going to have that, and guess what? I'm not going. Even if I'm just going to suggest this. I'm going to close with this, and I'm going to get to the list. Support your local independent promotions. And I'm not saying give up on your favorite indie wrestlers when they sign with bigger companies, but support them there, follow them, and see them pursue their dreams. And if they can do some good stuff there, great. But always make sure to support your local independent promotions, even though there are some that I have heard have dodgy people running them. Figure out the good ones. I go to one in particular that is run by a really good guy, and it features a lot of great talent and everything. So support your local independent promotions, but continue to support them when they go to the bigger companies. Let's get to the fucking list here. Okay, yeah, I just figured I'll put a timestamp if you don't want to hear me rant or whatever. But everybody loves to hear me rant, apparently. Okay, the first one, Jackson Riker. Okay, putting personal feelings aside, briefly. Jackson Riker did not offer any value to any big wrestling company in 2021. His biggest thing that he did in TNA years and years ago was be part of Gunner and Murphy. Murphy, by the way, who is currently in the NWA as a weird, tall guy that doesn't feel any pain named Judas. Yeah, I stopped watching the NWA a while ago for a variety of reasons. Nothing against Judas. Anyway, but... Then he had that feud Gunner did with James Storm, which actually wasn't that bad of a feud. That was back when TNA knew what the fuck ratings were. Even though TNA has good talent, well, Impact Wrestling now. They were TNA then. My point is he was brought in as the Forgotten Sons. Now, does he have an impressive physique? Yes, he does. The Forgotten Sons thing, okay, it was obviously very xenophobic and everything, even though they tried to say it wasn't. It clearly was. And then he got himself in hot water with the whole thing about the protests and stuff like that. And then, even though the Forgotten Sons thing was forgotten, because they all got released subsequently, Riker kept skating and kept skating and kept skating. They gave him pushes. And I guess all that whipping that he was doing ain't gonna fucking prevent him from being taken out to pasture. And hopefully maybe sent to the goddamn glue factory of professional wrestling and never allowed him wrestling again. So I'm going to bring those personal things in there. You guys can believe whatever the fuck you want to believe. You can believe green men from Mars, green men from Jupiter, or even Uranus have come down and have taken over the goddamn government. You're wrong. You're stupid, but whatever. But you can believe that. You can also believe the way that Jackson Riker believes. I also do want to say that if you do believe the way Jackson Riker believes, you're probably not going to enjoy my videos. And you might want to find another goddamn channel. Jackson Riker's a goddamn piece of shit, a middling talent that never deserved a big shot in wrestling. And hopefully, and this is actually what I hope, and I will close with this. One, he should have been fired way before this, because he didn't offer anything to anybody. They had to pipe in reactions of any kind with that feud with Elias that seemingly went forever, because nobody cared about him. So I hope that his wife decides to divorce him, takes the kids, and leaves him, and he ends up bloated and purple in a goddamn ditch, because it's what he fucking deserves. Because if you want to be that kind of goddamn person that believes that only white people should get the goddamn, the best treatment or whatever, Riker, you're a fucking goddamn idiot. Add 2 more K's there to Riker, and you get my opinion and my view on Riker. And it would fit him more. But yeah, Cracker Commander Riker, the Jackson Rectionist. Hey, maybe you can go celebrate January 6th. And hopefully end up like every single one of them should have ended up. They weren't patriots. They weren't cowards. He's a coward. And anybody that thinks like him is a goddamn coward. So I'm glad Jackson Riker's gone. If any of the promotions that I'm working, or that not working for, but that I frequent, bring this guy in, that is going to be the last show I go to for you guys. It's a business, but guess what? He ain't fucking worth it. Jackson Riker, have a fucking horrible Christmas, horrible Thanksgiving, horrible everything. And again, hopefully your wife takes the kids and leaves you, and you end up alone, penniless, and gutless somewhere. Actually, not even penniless. I don't even wish that. I actually hope somehow that he manages to have money or whatever, but he knows that nobody ever loved him, because who could love somebody that goddamn worthless? That goddamn, dark inside. So we go Shane Thorne, the former Slapjack, the former member of TM61. Okay, so he can reunite with TM61 member, Shit, who the hell was that? Mikey something or other. He was in New Japan. God damn it. I had the name, and then I totally forgot about it. Mikey Nichols. There we go. That's it. I got so goddamn angry in the first, 14 minutes of this video, I forgot. He could reunite with him. I actually wouldn't mind seeing that. Shane Thorne, I think, could do fine in New Japan Strong. I am going to mention where I think people can go. Shane Thorne, fine athlete. The slapjack thing was stupid, but I think he'll do well. I honestly forgot that he was there. Apparently, he got a Crocodile Dundee gimmick, and that was not a knife. It was walking papers, and that really is a shame though, because he was good talent. He was. Now we go with Drake Maverick. Okay, I don't think the emotional Drake Maverick video that got him rehired last time is going to work this time. And I'm not saying that's why he's doing it. That was a campaign that got him hired back. And it got him some more checks, and that's good. And I like Drake Maverick. I think Drake's going to have to be a player, manager / wrestler. Maybe they could reunite him and Killian Dane if they decide to do that, because I wasn't a fan of the team, but a lot of people were, and maybe it could work. But Drake can work, and Drake can do some good stuff. He can go back to Impact, get some shots on AEW, get some shots in New Japan Strong, on the Indies. Seriously, I mean, like, he could, I believe him and Renee Michelle, I believe they're still married. I think they are. I hope they are, because I wish nothing but the best for them. And if they are, hey, she got some shots in AEW. Maybe she knows some people. But Drake will do fine. Drake will do fine. I do feel for him, because you can tell he loves professional wrestling. If you checked out, the first video he did and the second video he did, you can tell he loves it. And I wish nothing but the best for him, and he's going to get some calls. And if he's at one of the indie shows that I go to, I'll, hopefully maybe he'll do a meet and greet. I'll get a chance to shake his hand and everything and get some merch from him. So now we go to Tegan Knox. This release snapped her ACL again. And on that note, I'm a fucking dick. In all seriousness, Tegan Knox is actually very, very good, very talented, but snake bit, sneaky snack biting knee. No, she has just been bitten by the injury bug, and unfortunately, unfortunately it took away a couple of years of her career. I mean, she had that one injury. People say she had 2 injuries. I swear she had 3, but she had one injury that took her out, and that was, that was like before a major or, any kind of like moderate push. Then she faced off against, I believe, Rhea Ripley, and got injured and felt that was it. She had just gotten back. I think she had like a couple matches, and she had just gotten back, and then she got injured again. And then she finally was rebuilt and everything, recharged, and she came back. I swear she's had 3 injuries, but her and, because her and Dakota Kai had their, had their feud, which actually wasn't all that bad. It's kind of nice to see those two tangled up with each other, but moving on from that, moving hastily on from, what I should delete in my search history, Tegan Knox, if she can stay healthy, will do fine. I think if Shimmer starts running again, give her a call. I hope the Indies, bring her in for shots. Impact, I think Impact could do good with her. AEW could do good, by bringing somebody in that, that they could tell a hell of a goddamn story, get some sympathy and everything, to offset what Tony Khan and others have done. And if you know, you know. But Tegan Knox could do that. She could go to Stardom. She could go to various promotions. She can get some work. And as long as her knee holds up, and hopefully it does, she can be, because I swear it was the same knee that got injured. She can do some great stuff. And now we move on to John Morrison. I'm going to finish up with the obvious, most shocking one, after this. John Morrison, his wife just got fired, Taya Valkyrie, in the latest round of, earlier round of releases. John Morrison can do movies, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Strong, AEW can bring him in for some shots. No, not everybody can go to AEW, but AEW's contracts, that were originally signed are coming up soon, and there's going to be a lot of open spots. So I can't imagine that some of these people are going to be re-signed. Morrison would be a big boost for them, because he's got a name. People know who he is. He could be Johnny Dynamite, Johnny Rampage. He could be Johnny Dark Elevation. That doesn't quite. Johnny Dark actually sounds like, the perfect dark DLC that you would get. But anyway, John Morrison will get work, but he's also, like 42? Something like that. It's not like he's going to have a ton of years left before maybe he decides, hey, I'm just going to do acting, I'm just going to do whatever. He's made his money, I'm sure. He was in WWE for a while, went out, did stuff on the Indies, had a pretty good run in Impact, came back to WWE. Hey, we got to see his dripstick. He was totally fucking wasted. Totally fucking wasted. Well, I mean, and I don't mean like drunk, even though I would have been drunk if I would have had to have fucking done that, and I don't drink, so imagine how much that would offend me that it would drive me to do that. John Morrison will get work elsewhere. And now we move on to Top Dollar, a.k.a. not PN News, Ashante Diodonis, a.k.a. not D-Lo, and okay, that's unfair. They got the bigger guy that was in Hit Row, the smaller guy that was in Hit Row, and now Isaiah Swerve Scott. Now Shane Swerve Strickland is back. I don't know what's going to happen with the other two members of Hit Row. Hit Row was not my cup of tea, but the fact that Hit Row was called up to SmackDown, big, touted deal and everything. They let it all out, and then they released everybody without any doubt. Hey, now, we're talking to you, go home. This is ridiculous, because even if I wasn't a fan of them, they had fans. I have to recognize that. Putting those personal feelings aside, they had fans. They got reactions. They got reactions on NXT. They got reactions on social media. That's something that Vince and, well, mainly his team, because I don't even think Vince can spell internet, let alone know what it is. They had attention. And then they just decided to release them. They released B-Fab before, and I don't know what's going to happen to B-Fab. And that's not, like a core part of this discussion. They could always reunite in some other company. But I'm going to say this. Swerve is the one that's going to get the most work. If New Japan Strong, AEW, and even Impact aren't blowing up his phone, I don't know what the fuck it is. And I know I keep saying New Japan Strong like New Japan isn't running them. But he would work well in New Japan Strong. He'd work well in AEW. But again, they can't sign everybody. And Impact Wrestling, him versus Chris Bay would be nice. I would like to see that. But Shane Swerve Strickland, a.k.a. Isaiah Swerve Scott, will get work. I'm disappointed because I met him at multiple Defy shows and a couple Without a Cause shows just before he signed. I was at the last show he was at when he took on Darby Allin, and there was a thumbtack spot, and it was, I don't know why people do thumbtack spots, especially in indie shows, but whatever. And Shane said this is his last show at Defy. So we got to greet him and everything, merch and all that stuff. Funny story about the glasses that he used to wear. He couldn't see out of them, which is why he would always look down. My buddy, my best friend, a.k.a. Chris, a.k.a. the Durbinator, actually handed him some glasses that he had at a show back in, it was late 2018, early 2019. I'm not totally sure. I'm not totally sure on the date. But they were yellow glasses, and Swerve could suddenly see through them, and he said, hey, they're yours. And, he bought himself a new pair and stuff like that. So it was really cool. Swerve wore those for a while, and I actually recognized, it was kind of cool just to see something that my best friend gave him, help him out and everything while he continued to achieve his dream. Now, Swerve got signed in April 2019. Did some good work in NXT. I wasn't the biggest fan creatively of what they did with him, but he seemed to be enjoying it, and he also does music and stuff like that, and he's trying to cultivate that career. He's a natural at wrestling. He would be a big boost for any company that brings him in. I'd bring him in as a solo act, but he is somebody that could absolutely boost any company. So I will say they missed out. WWE missed out on not utilizing Shane Swerve Strickland, Isaiah Swerve Scott, whatever name you want to go by. I'm going to call him Swerve Strickland. Whatever you want to go by, they missed out on not utilizing him properly. But yes, in closing, those are the rest of the releases. So after all that ranting and everything, I just want to say once again that I hope not Tony Khan, Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon and the burnt apple that is Bruce Pritchard and People Power and Kevin Nunn and any of Vince McMahon's stooges and cohorts have the worst goddamn Christmas possible, and I hope that everything bad happens to them eventually, because you can play with people's lives, and yes, it is business. You do what you do. But eventually, and this has been building up since all these releases happened. I'm talking last year into this year and stuff like that. Maybe don't hoard everybody. Maybe don't get to the point where you have to release people, or you feel like you have to release people because you had nothing to do for them, or you have nothing for them to do. And now you have a bunch of shows. They're just going to have a bunch of people facing the same goddamn people, because now you've gotten to the point where you release so many, even though you have a bunch in the PC. Who's fucking ready? Who knows? So yeah, they're goddamn pieces of shit, and guess what? They fucking deserve every goddamn bit of ridicule they get. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.